World of Warcraft is not something that I really talk about on this channel ever. I've played the game in the past, in passing, but it's not something that I really actively play. However, on occasion, I do enjoy following up with what's going on with OnlyFangs and everything to do with hardcore WoW. It's just funny to me. It's kind of fascinating, honestly. It's entertaining. Now, I know a lot of you are judging me right now. There's a million other things that I could be doing with my time, sure, but it's like my novella, okay? Everybody has that one thing that they're not really proud of, but they do anyway. For a lot of people, their thing might be obsessing over politics. For others, it might be weird furry stuff. For me, I like to follow up with what's going on with hardcore WoW. For me, it's been following up with all the OnlyFangs stuff, and ever since the infamous Tyler 1 death and everything that happened with that, I've just been amused, so I've been following it even though I don't even play WoW anymore. Now, there is a creator on this platform that I'm a big fan of, and that creator is Asmongold. I've been watching Asmongold for quite a while now, and he's pretty much the only streamer that I actually make time to watch, as opposed to watching YouTube recaps. But I was watching his stream, and he was commenting on a very, very unfortunate event, which, if you don't know, OnlyFangs has been wiped out because of a DDoSing attack. But it just so happens that Asmongold made a few comments on this situation that I really disagree with. What's truly important here, and the only discussion really worth having, is his comments on the OnlyFangs wipeout situation. That's the only input that I have for anything he's ever said. Obviously, I'm joking. I think he covers a lot of very interesting stuff. I think that he's a guy that is very balanced with his takes. He tries to be very fair, even though a lot of the time he's fucking wrong. At least that's my opinion, and I shouldn't even say that there are a lot of times that he's wrong. There are times, because generally speaking, he's very fair, I think he's reasonable, and I agree with him on a lot of stuff. Except for his opinions on Starfield, we tend to have a severe disagreement there. I love Starfield, Asmongold doesn't. It's okay, we can still be friends. Even though he doesn't know who I am, we can still be friends. With that said though, I'm gonna stop joking. Let's actually get into the meat and potatoes of the video here, and let me play a little bit of his comments that he made about the situation, and let me just bring you up to speed. If you're one of the 5 people that watch my channel, there's a chance that you either don't play World of Warcraft or maybe you don't even know what it is. So let me just explain this. World of Warcraft, as I'm sure everybody and their mom knows, is a very old and popular game. It's not as popular nowadays for a few reasons that maybe we will or won't get into in this video, but it used to be very popular. It used to be the king of MMOs. As of recent, however, it's been getting a lot of traction because of hardcore WoW. Even though a lot of people don't play the hardcore mode for the game, there's a lot of people that like to watch it, myself included, because there's a lot of drama, it's funny. Now essentially, OnlyFangs is a guild of streamers, okay? All these famous streamers like Soda Poppin', Tyler 1, Pirate, whoever else, man, I don't know who like 3/4 of these people are, I just know a handful of them, but they all made like a guild in the game, and they stream themselves playing, and there's a lot of stuff that goes down. And what's cool and entertaining to watch about hardcore WoW is that if you die in this game, you lose your character forever. There's no rolling back, there's nothing you can do. If your character dies, you're done. You're done on that server. You have to start a new character. You can't roll back the clock or save scum. It's like you die, you die. So keep in mind that the reason this matters is because it's an MMO, which means that people have been spending hours and hours leveling up their character, getting to the point that they're at, and if they die at any point, you lose like weeks or months of progress. And as Asmongold says, you're doing a disservice to your time. So I see his point, but we're going to talk about that. I think there's an interesting conversation to be had here underneath this very pointless subject that not that many people care about, but I care about it, okay? I care. So I want to talk about it, so we're going to talk about it. So now that I prefaced that, let me go ahead and just let Asmongold talk for a little bit, and then we're going to expand on what he's saying here. Let me roll the clip.
Yeah, we're in.
Move.
Oh no! Oh no!
No.
Everybody's offline.
Mary's about to die.
The whole server crashed.
Mary's dead. Everyone.
Just keep playing if you can.
Hearth, what are you doing?
I can't move. Oh my god.
Hearth!
DC'd again.
Hearth, go!
Yeah, I'm on a loading screen, guys. It's
He's gonna try and go behind the wall.
Save your character,
okay.
I guess.
And he logs back in.
That was miserable. That's a terrible way to go out.
Yeah,
A
we were doing
massive
so
raid.
well. Death was 2 and everything. It's fucked up.
I'm trying to walk in.
My loading screen isn't loading.
Yep, same, Rakula.
Same?
I'm in the Blackwing load screen. I don't even know if I want to log in.
Sucks. It sucks to go out that way, man. It really sucks to go out that way. Out of all ways to die, dying to a disconnect, always the worst. I'm assuming, are we all dead? Like, is Peekaboo dead? Like, are we all dead?
Probably.
Server rollback, it's not happening, dude. There's no way.
There's no way. Yeah,
I mean,
he's
bro,
right.
If Blizzard does it, cool, but there's just no way.
If they do it, everybody's gonna get mad.
Because servers crashed yesterday and hundreds of people died and they didn't roll back those.
Yeah, exactly.
Servers crashed today and hundreds more died. There's no way they're just... Dude, I can't believe I died too. I had the Hearthstone off.
I'm gonna be honest. Like, this mode is fucking retarded. Like, it's really like, I mean, you shouldn't be playing. Like, it's just... This is just doing hardcore like WoW. Like, it's not made for that. It's just not. It's never been made for it. It's just like you're trying to fit a square peg in a round hole, and you're gonna get friction, right? That's what happens. And I feel bad for them, right? I mean, it really sucks. And what really is I would say funny, but it's not really funny. What's sad is the fact that now all of them, like, this is a DDoS or W, right? I mean, like, they got exactly what they wanted. So basically, there's a mode in classic World of Warcraft that's called Hardcore WoW. And what hardcore means is that if your character dies, you lose your character forever. No ifs, ands, or buts. No takesy-backsies. No, you know, well, I can put in a ticket and they'll restore the character. Your character is gone into the void, reduced to atoms. It is deleted no matter what. If your house burns down, your character's deleted. If your dog pushes the mouse button, your character's deleted and it gets killed. Anything that happens will get your character killed, and Blizzard has a policy of never restoring anybody's characters at all.
This is
I
it.
DC'd. I
This is it. He was right.
No fucking way, guys. They're all gonna die.
I think everyone DC'd.
Everyone just DC'd.
Yeah.
We die.
They're all dead.
It's over.
No fucking way, bro. No.
Guys, get out, get out.
It's on
Just
you.
run, just run, just run.
Yep.
Is it
Think about that.
called?
Literal, like,
It's a run.
4 months. 3 or 4 months.
Oh my god,
invested
nobody
into
has a
this.
POV.
Leave?
Full DC'd.
And it's just over.
I'm in the login server.
Somebody says it's crazy that Blizzard won't revive the characters. They can't. They can't revive the characters because if you have a policy of not reviving characters and then you revive characters, every single person that disconnects is going to now say they need to have their character revived. They can't. If Blizzard doesn't make this right somehow, it's going to be really hard to convince anyone to continue playing hardcore moving forward. Good. They never should. It's a stupid game mode. It's a stupid game mode. It's not congruent to the way the game's designed. Everything about hardcore is antithetical to the way that WoW is designed. You want to play hardcore WoW, go ahead, play hardcore WoW, but you're playing it and you're just making mistakes, right? It's a stupid game mode. Yeah, it is. It is. That's the way it's designed. This is such a dog shit take. It is. Sorry, it's not. No, the game's not designed for hardcore. If you take a game and then you turn it into a hardcore game, you're going to have problems.
So what Asmongold is saying here is that these deaths cannot be reversed, that Blizzard has a policy, which he's right, that, you know, if anybody dies in hardcore WoW, it does not matter the reason, they can't revive your character. They can't roll it back even if it was out of your control. And he goes on to say that for those reasons, and we'll talk about that later, he thinks that hardcore WoW is stupid, it's pointless, it's a disrespect to your time, and if this happens, you kind of deserve it. Which is a separate conversation that we'll get into in just a minute, but let's just address the main thing. I am of the belief that there should be a rollback. This should be reversed and the characters should be revived. Not only just for the situation, not only just because these people are streamers, because a lot of people are saying that this shouldn't be the case because it's special treatment because they're streamers. I don't think it's really that black and white. His claim is essentially that if Blizzard does this, it's really bad marketing for them and it sets a precedent that, you know, there's special treatment for streamers. I am of the belief that if this were to happen with anyone in any single situation, anytime that there is a DDoS attack or an interruption of service, something like that that causes your character to die, you should be able to get it re-rolled or respawned or revived. And I'm not saying that you need to revive or roll back everybody that logs off just before they're dying. I'm talking about if there is a large scale, something that is recognized that happened company-wide or server-wide that may have caused or deaths or impacted players during this time, even if you just got lucky to have happened to have died at that time and you were gonna die anyway or whatever, like the one collateral, that one person that might get lucky, it's okay in order to preserve the integrity. We can move on now from this point. That's my opinion. Well, but then that defeats the point of hardcore WoW, because if you die, the point is that there's no going back. I understand, but what defeats the point of hardcore WoW is getting DDoSed and losing your character for that reason. People are just not going to play this anymore. It's going to get even more dead. There's already not a lot of people that play hardcore WoW, right? And there's going to be even less people that get invested or see that as something cool to do or to stream, which I find really fun to watch. If they start getting targeted, where if every time they're in a raid, it sets the precedent that, you know, you can just DDoS the company or do something that will cause these people to die and kind of ruin the fun for everybody. And it's not fun or not entertaining because they died. A lot of people were pointing out that this is very funny. I didn't think it was funny. And not because, oh, poor streamers, you know, this is super sad. Nobody's grandma died, okay? It's not that deep. But it's not funny and it's not entertaining because of how it happened. I'll give you an example. The whole debacle with Tyler 1 dying and the whole raid going to shit and the 2 weeks of drama that ensued from that was really fucking funny. And the reason for that is because it was organic. It just happened naturally. So that was funny. Now, these people just getting DDoSed and everybody, you know, being forced logged off of the game. And then when they get back in, their character is just dead. And all this buildup and this progress and these streams we've been watching are now done just because of that. I don't find that entertaining nor funny. Not because it's tragic. It's just boring. It would have been fun to have watched them all die and fight with each other, you know, like just like the whole Tyler 1 thing. I keep going back to that. Everybody's fighting, blaming each other. That shit to me is funny, all right? This, nobody's fighting because it's out of everybody's control, and it's just very unclimatic or anticlimactic, however you say. It's just not cool. It wasn't cool to watch. I was disappointed. It came to a very uneventful ending. I'm not happy. You can't have a game where you want people to be so invested into it, where they pour hours and hours and hours of their time into these characters, and if there's a server interruption, that they don't get rolled back, they don't revive, that breaks the integrity. Now, the response to this and the argument that Asmongold makes is that, well, if you do that, you're setting a precedent or a target on Blizzard's back. If you do this, you're making it so just before dying, somebody logs off or something like that. Or you're making Blizzard a target because if somebody's going to die, they're going to DDoS Blizzard.
You can just roll back if the servers go down. The problem that causes is that if you roll back every time the servers go down, you're going to have people that are going to DDoS the servers when they die. I know it sounds stupid, but that's what will happen. That is what will happen. Like for Classic WoW players, and if you play Classic WoW, like, wait, they're going to commit a felony over Classic WoW? Absolutely. Absolutely they will. If the reward is they died and they rolled it back and they're all alive, it isn't really worth doing. The problem is that it creates a precedent that the entire community will hate, because now everybody is going to have like some sort of like secondary reason for why it's okay that their character got rolled back. And then the narrative will be created that now streamers are getting special treatment, and then the entire community will hate them because the Classic WoW community is toxic and it hates streamers anyway. So like it's a massive mistake. Like Blizzard can't do it. It's a bad marketing decision for them to do it.
And then he goes on to say that, well, do you think that people would commit a crime DDoSing a company just to not die on hardcore WoW? Yes, they absolutely would. And I agree with him. They absolutely would. I just don't agree with the logic of that. For example, banks carry money, right? Banks having money in their vaults makes them a target for bank robberies. However, they're a bank. They still need money. It's not just because something makes you a target for a crime that thing shouldn't exist. It's not just because banks become a target for robbery or something, or, you know, the McDonald's becomes a target for robbery because they have a register or something, that They shouldn't have money to be able to give people change. It's a cost of doing business. So I completely disagree with that logic. I think that the entire premise of it is completely wrong. You know, it's not just because that something makes you a target that you're not going to do the right thing because it encourages people to do something. Like, come on, it's not that many people that are successfully DDoSing Blizzard. And I know it happens, okay? It's not super rare, but I think that this is one of those exceptions where it's like, if it happens, in order to maintain the integrity of the game, you should fix it. You should rectify it, even if it sets some sort of precedent or whatever, because the alternative is worst. And you can tell that he really doesn't care about this a whole lot, and correct me if I'm wrong, you know, if he sees this video, which I highly doubt, but hey, if you actually care about it, you just feel very strongly about this argument, totally fine. I disagree with you. I think that it's more of a situation where Asmon doesn't really care. He doesn't play hardcore WoW, and he goes on to state, and I'll let him talk here in a minute, where if you spend your time playing hardcore WoW or games of that nature, where, you know, if your character dies, it's an all or nothing, you deserve to have these things happen to you. You're a fucking loser, and, you know, it's stupid. It's a game mode that just shouldn't exist. Well, you know, my friend, that's not true, and it's not up to you to decide how people spend their time. Maybe the company should just rectify the situation for the people that aren't like you and do enjoy watching or participating in this and maintain the integrity of the game. Like, we can disagree, but that's my opinion. Hardcore WoW needs to have some exceptions in place because people, especially streamers, they're gonna get targeted. Now let's talk about this whole being a loser thing if you like hardcore games, because that hits home, okay? It hits home for me because I'm a guy that has talked multiple times on this channel about how much I like making hardcore experiences or permadeath experiences. I love playing Battle Brothers with permadeath on Iron Man mode. I love playing XCOM 2 with Iron Man mode on. I love doing permadeath runs on Dragon's Dogma 2. I love doing survival and hardcore mode for Starfield and Fallout and Skyrim. So I'm all about that, okay? And it just seems that Asmon, that's not his cup of tea, which is fine. And as a consequence, he believes that anybody that partakes in that is disrespecting their what little time they have left on this earth, is what he's saying. To which I say, I love hardcore WoW. I love anything that has an Iron Man mode to it. And the only thing that made me love Assassin's Creed Mirage, for example, was the fact that there was a permadeath there. That is what makes the game exciting to me. It's similar to what makes something like poker exciting. If you just play poker and you don't play it for money, it's literally the boringest game on the face of the planet. Now, if you go to the casino and there's money to be lost, if your fucking house is on the line, now my friends, that is entertainment right there. And it's a very similar reason to why I enjoy watching hardcore WoW. It's a very similar reason to why I enjoy playing Iron Man modes and hardcore modes. Having this situation where you can die and lose everything is what makes it entertaining. That's where the excitement comes from. That's where, man, the game has no point. Like every time I play Battletech or MechWarrior, I do permadeath runs because your choices matter. The things you decide to do, they're final. You can't just save and start over. What's the fun in that? Honestly, that's where I get joy from my games, man. That's what's fun to me. Now, of course, I don't play every single game like that, but I think that when there are stakes in place, that's for a lot of people where the excitement comes from. That's where the fun is, you know? I disagree with him on this one. I think that he fails to see where the fun is for a lot of people, especially the people that are watching, because I don't even play the game. I just like to watch, and that's the power of it. That's the power right there, where even somebody who doesn't currently play World of Warcraft like me, I haven't touched the game in years, and even when I played, I didn't play that much. Why am I invested in this? Why am I so entertained? Even somebody who doesn't like the game, I am entertained by the fact and intrigued by the fact that if these people die, they lose weeks or months of progress, and there's a component of excitement and emotion there, and that can only be captured by something that has a permadeath mode or gambling. You know, I think they kind of go hand in hand, but that's a different story. Maybe that's why gambling streams are entertaining for so many people. I don't like them. I like actually gambling myself, but some people like them, and I think that it's a similar excitement. The entertainment is still there, and in general, for a game that frankly is not doing so well, World of Warcraft, kind of fell off. Might get some hate for that, but you know, can we agree that it's not what it used to be, you know? And you might say, oh, the game is just old. That's what happens with things that get old. Well, League of Legends says hello. So that's not really the case. If you keep your game fresh, you make it exciting, I think that it can survive. Now, you might say it's just MMOs in general. That's a separate conversation. MMOs in general are not as popular. So hey, a game like this, hardcore WoW, a mode like this is a great way to try to revive the hype and bring people back. And clearly it's topping charts on Steam. So clearly a lot of people are watching this and are very entertained by it. People like me who don't even play the game. So that's where the fun is at. I get that Asmongold doesn't see it, but I think it's important. And I think that it's important to maintain the integrity of the game for that reason. And I think that when you allow people that are, you know, trying to purposely stream snipe or DDoS people or, you know, break the game for these people, you're, you know, not only are you giving them a W by doing that, but you're also destroying the fun. You're destroying as a company, you're destroying the integrity of your game. Oh, nobody plays hardcore WoW. Well, clearly a lot of people like to watch it. Clearly a lot of high profile people like to play it. There's an audience. You might not be that audience, but I like watching it. I'm part of that audience. And I think that what this sets the precedent for is that I'm not going to watch hardcore WoW anymore. I have no interest in watching this again. I have no real interest in watching this again if their characters don't get rolled back. You know why? Because I'm going to be watching them for weeks or for months, and when they get to the next raid or the next thing, they're just going to get wiped because of a DDoS attack again. Like, I'm expecting this to happen again, so I'm not going to get invested. I'm not going to watch. It just broke the integrity. It broke the fun. That is why it's so important. So that is my opinion. This is my message that will never be seen to the Roach King himself. You're wrong. You're right about a lot of things. You're right. You're actually right about most things. Okay, I'm going to extend you a huge olive branch. You're a very reasonable guy. I tend to agree with a lot of things you say, except when you talk about UBI. We're not on the same page on that one, but it's okay. Most of your opinions, and even that one, it's coming from a place of reason. It's coming from a place of good faith. I think that Asmongold is a good faith person, so I like him, but I think he's wrong.